Hello, I'm Dr. John Smelser, and welcome to another episode of Ahtna 101. In this episode, I teach some of the words related to hunting and fishing. Ahtna historically was a hunter and gathering tribe following the seasons for fish and game, and a lot of us still live a largely subsistence lifestyle, catching salmon and putting them away for the winter, and hunting moose and caribou and other game, small and large. So hunting terms are very much a part of our culture. I'll begin with just the word arrowhead. We used to hunt with arrows, and the word for an arrowhead and sometimes a spearhead is simply keka, keka. A word for the arrow itself is kenka, kenka. But if you're from Antasta, our northern village, they say duck kenka, duck kenka. So a little different there. Our arrowheads, were eventually made out of iron, because once Westerners came into our country, we used iron when we could. And the word for iron is kachika, kachika. Now it's interesting, because our word for white people, Westerners, Western European, is kachine, kachine, which means iron people, because Westerners came into Alaska and brought with them iron that we didn't have before. Our word for copper arrowhead. Ahtna people are known as the people of the Copper River because some of the biggest copper deposits in the world were discovered up in the headwaters of our country. So it's Cherika. Cherika, Cherika. Sometimes we used antlers as arrowheads on our spear of our arrow. And if it's made out of antler, it was dotsinka, dotsinka. The feather, the fletching that you use on an arrow, is just called kenka ta, kenka ta. So that's the feathers. If you use a blunt arrow, for anyone who's ever hunted, you don't use a pointed arrow for certain small game, birds and stuff, because it just goes right through them. You want to hit them with an impact. And so our blunt arrow is just tles, tles, but also kintles. So you see the word kin, which has to do with the word wood, kintles. So it's an arrow made of wood with a blunt tip. We did hunt with spears. There's pictures from around the turn of the century, photographs, that show us at our caribou camp up in the mountains with big, long, like 10-foot spears leaning up against the tent. And that's dudai, dudai. And some people call it uyuni, uyuni. So a little different depending on which dialect you are. We did have war with other tribes in the area. There's some stories of a war with people down around Iyak. And our war weapons is bindeyani, bindeyani. And if you're from Antasta, mandeyani. Guns, or a rifle in general, something we didn't have till Westerners came, is just called ka, ka. And the gun sight on the front of a gun is called kakezani, kakezani. So that's enough for this time. Stay tuned for part 2 of words related to hunting or fishing.